ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Hello. Let me turn my disco off. It is wonderful to see you guys this evening. And thank you for taking time out to your off time to do work. That just shows that you want to learn and you want to, learn, pick up some new things for your students. We let more in. I had 73 register. So I figure a lot of people may forget. Hello, Friday. Hello. Howdy doody. Demarcus. Hi. Bria. Jasmine. I Green. Hello. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me know if I drop out or anything. I'm trying a new microphone. If it's too loud or whatever, um, just let me know. And I also talk very loud. So let me know if I need to adjust anything, friends. Hello, hello, friends that just came in. Hello. Hi. Welcome to my space. Okay. So I would like to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I'm gonna keep letting people in. But I want to go ahead. Is it at somebody's asking a question. Is it at 8 o'clock Eastern time? No, it's at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Uh I don't know how to do this. Okay. It's now 7 Eastern time. Okay. So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So what we're looking at tonight is beginners, just and I'm not walking you through a whole lot. I'm just going from the beginning of the year to the Christmas concert. Because that's a big oh, hold on, people are asking for the link. If somebody has access to the chat in Facebook, it's a lot of people. So I don't know what the link is. I got it. I have to find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, thank you, Tasia. Thank you. This is why people use these. People are using those AI assistants now. And I was supposed to get one and forgot. Let's let everybody get in. Hello. Hey, Ashley. Oh, what
Hey,
a cool background you have there. You've got planets back there.
thank you.
How cool. I'm just at my house. Okay, everybody's at their house,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you everybody that's coming in. And I'm gonna keep letting people in. But I want to go ahead and get started so we can get off of here because I go to bed early. Okay. All right. So everybody, like I said, thank you so much for being here. That means that you have a heart for beginners. And I've done K through 12, and beginners are always my favorite, in high school. I love them there. They're easier in high school. And I love them in middle school too, but that's the part where everybody's like, okay. So thank you for being here. And I don't know, I'm just gonna say my process. And of course people can add at the end, but I'm just gonna go through what worked for me for 17, 18 years, and what helped me to get my babies going. Oh y'all, we got a lot of people getting on. Hey everybody, hey, hello, hey. I see my flute friend, the doctor. Hey doctor.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. It is so great to see the flute community in the building. Yes. Mm. Okay, so people still coming in. So yeah, I'm just going to share what has worked for me. Um, I'm not trying to sell anything or anything like that. I'm not doing a consulting business. Everybody's doing that, and I'm just like, I'm not getting in that mix. I'm just sharing what works for me. I am a huge cultural critic. I'm a critic of the culture. I have been. And so you can't be a critic without also offering help and also offering different solutions for people. So if you don't know me, it is good to meet you. I went to Bethune-Cookman University um, a long, long, long time ago. And I graduated. I did music education. My first job, I taught elementary music for 7 years. He said, "Boo." Shut up, Jeff. I taught elementary for a long time, and that I think that helped me with middle because elementary, you got a plan, baby. It ain't no waving sticks around with them jokers there. You got to have something ready to do, and you have to plan. You have to be instructionally sound. So I think that the preparation that I got at the I'm still letting people in, y'all. How can I let somebody else let people in too besides just me? Let me see
You
here.
make them a co-host.
Oh, is that how? Okay, let me do that then. Who knows how to do that? Uh, Alexis, can I have you?
Yeah, I'll do it. I don't
Oh,
mind.
okay, thank you, baby. Okay, so there it is, and then that way you can let people in. Thank you so much. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, I taught elementary for like a long time, and so I liked it. Like a part of me, I was like, oh my God, I felt so demasculated, even though I'm a woman. But I just felt like I want to teach band. But that I'm glad I had that foundation because, like I said, you got to be ready. You have to be instructionally sound. And a lot of times when you jump directly into band, it doesn't require the same level of being instructionally sound because we know how it is being in band, so we feel like that's all we need to see. There's more to it than that, but at the same time it's just still you that elementary piece I feel like is what set me up. So when I got to middle, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be great at this. And I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. I was immediately my very first year. I got straight superiors on stage, with the group I had, and and it wasn't. I've never been in any situations that were set up already. I've never gotten any jobs that was just already. Oh, this is a powerhouse. Like everything had to be built for me. So I'm gonna go over what I did during that time and what worked for me. Okay. And I have notes prepared because I'll be on here cussing and everything else. Y'all know me. Those that know me know me. So I want to be professional. All right. All right. Very good. Okay, so good evening, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Like I said, teach a beginning band, the response to this is huge. Because nobody ever wants to talk about beginning band. Because it's kind of taboo. I don't know why it is, but it's one of the most rewarding things that you can ever do in music education is teach beginners. Right now, I watch students that I had that are in band, at different HBCUs and different colleges, and they're performing. They've graduated. I've got a couple, which is so weird, saxophone players. I don't know if it's the correlation with flute and saxophone, but my saxophones are out there kicking tail everywhere. And so, it's just it makes me happy to see that. So today's session is called Teaching Beginning Band with Purpose. Because when I look at those kids that are now thriving in their collegiate careers and different things, I still see them as them little musky little sixth graders when they came in and they first came and met Miss Phillips. And I still see them as that, and it makes it feel even better when you watch them. I have one kid that I started, he's in Mexico. And but he's like infamous over there. He plays in one of those bands, one of those mariachi kind of groups or whatever. And he's humongous. He's on billboards over there. And I think about when he was just this little tiny thing, and I started him, right there at Eddie White, and put that saxophone in his hand. So it's very rewarding. The next 60 minutes, I'm gonna walk you through a structured step-by-step framework from your recruitment night all the way up to your first concert. That's all I'm gonna give you tonight. Now we gotta meet for some other stuff on some other nights. All right, we'll talk about what works, what doesn't, and how to make every phase of that beginning band experience meaningful for your students. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully. Okay. And hopefully everybody can see me. Not see me, but see these slides. I don't care if you see me. Okay. All right. So let me make sure everything's lined up. All right. Can everybody, oh, what did I do? Oh, geez. Yes, I'm one of those people that struggle. Share, share, share. What happened to the share button? Okay. Here. Okay. All right. Good. All right. Everybody can see it. Awesome. All right. So, what we're looking at. So, what are your biggest challenges? So, I got the challenges from the form, the Google form that you guys filled out, and these were some of the most responses that I got. Altogether, like I said, we had about 73 people do the form. I thought that was alarming. I was like, wow, that really shows that we need to connect on this beginning band thing. But some of the things people were concerned about was like tone, technique, embouchure. Um, and so this is one that always comes up, tone, technique, and embouchure. Um, I think people overthink it a lot of times with beginning band, especially with middle school beginning band. Um, getting that consistent tone production, that proper embouchure, breath support, articulation, and intonation on woodwinds and flutes. But what I want to say, I'm going to get to this a little bit later, but I just want to throw a nugget at you real quick. Modeling corrects all of that. You got to model. You have to learn, you have to know how to play all the instruments. Um, eh, there's no other way around it. You just have to. They learn faster and they learn better when they're able to do it with you. Okay. And I'll get more to that later. Student engagement and motivation. It was the second concern that a lot of people had. They want to know, how do you keep, people ask these questions. They said, well, how do you keep them committed when they're frustrated, when it starts getting too hard? um, when they were not the ones that chose band in the first place. Because you do have a lot of places where they just throw kids in band class and dump them. I call that the dumping ground. So if you're a dumping ground, what, and I've been that before. I've been that before, so I understand that. So we will talk about that. Practice and retention. So the rehearsal room is only part of it. You know what I'm saying? Them practicing, them kids not gonna, they really not gonna, I hate to tell y'all, they really not. You can scream till you blue in the face. You can give all the practice logs and grades you want to give, but that's not gonna make them practice. So we have to figure out how to get them to do that and how to also make up that time in class. Fourth, people had a lot of concerns about them having classrooms where they have them in there with mixed levels. And so then they're dealing with classroom management. I've also been in that scenario before as well. Went to APS, and anybody who knows me knows that was one of the most horrible decisions of my career, leaving Clayton County Schools and going out there. And I went there and I taught at a 6 through 12 school. I got my job off the news, I mean, it was horrible. If you know what I mean. The director was caught up in some hanky panky and got arrested on campus, and then they want to bring in a woman to come save the day, and then it was a whole can of worms. Um, so I understand the mixed level thing. At a 6 through 12, they definitely had me in there doing that. So we're going to talk about that. Scheduling, resources, and curriculum. Of course, people have concerns about having limited instruments, limited support, limited time. So we're gonna look at some realistic, actionable approaches that work in those under-resourced communities. That's all I've ever worked in is under-resourced communities. And the last thing that people had concerns about was percussion and woodwind methods. And that's how you teach instruments outside of your primary area of expertise. Um, Practice, take them home and get better at them. Okay. All right. So we're gonna look up here and so the 60-minute roadmap. So what we're gonna look at today is this is our program for the evening. So we're gonna open up with 5 minutes on why structure matters. Then we're gonna move on to chapter 1, look at recruitment and access. Chapter 2 will cover assembly and care. Chapter 3 will dig into those first notes and early milestones. Chapter 4 will go into that building excitement toward the concert, just working towards that one. For me, it was always Jingle Bells. Page 12. That's the big kahuna. Okay. So working them towards something like that and giving them something to work towards so they will work for you. And then I have a video of my last year's group playing that Jingle Bells. And so some years, I will tell you this, some years are better than others with that Jingle Bells. Every year varies. Okay. So last year I had to pull in the seventh and eighth graders and let them come play with them. So every year varies, but just being flexible. All right. Being flexible to make that happen. And then beyond the first concert, just a little bit, but I ain't gonna give you too much of that. Okay. Then we'll have some time for Q&A. All right. So from day one, okay, why does structure matter from day one? I am not the most organized individual under the sun. I am terrible. I am an artist to my heart and soul. Um, I can do a little bit of clerical stuff, a little bit of technology, but overall, I am not the most organized. But what I always have in my head from year to year, over the summer, what I started doing, just going beyond. See, I'm giving y'all too much. Really, I should be charging, but never mind. But look, so I started over the summer choosing literature and stuff for seventh and eighth graders, what they gonna be doing. I have all that stuff selected ahead of time. So I'm not dealing with that August, September, October. You see what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with that. By the time I get there in the fall, August, they're already solidified. Only thing I'm doing is hoping my music come in and I'm passing out and I'm working with them in class on their stuff. I've always done three, I've always done two separate groups. So I've always done sixth grade beginners, and then seventh and eighth grade is the top group. Seventh grade is a big bridge year. It's a big bridge year. But if you start your beginners off right, by the time they get to seventh grade, they already reading. Okay, so that's what we're talking about today. So when we're looking at beginning band, a lot of times people are scared to put them out there. They're scared to take them out to perform, different things like that. No, they don't need to be performing all over the place. You do need to be developing them. But like I said, you have a few milestone performances, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, I think that directors care. I don't think that is that they don't care. I just think that a lot of times they get overwhelmed with it because it's so much that has to happen at the same time. But if I'm telling you that I'm not organized and I've been able to make it happen just with this simple system, okay? So it's just intentional structure that we're looking to build in these programs. Clear timelines, clear purposes, all of the things. Okay. So it's not theory, not philosophy. It's just a real practical framework that you have to develop for your program. So you can take what I'm telling you and see how you can use it towards your program, which is why you're here. Okay. All right. So recruitment and access. That's the very first thing. I made sure that I was there at every open house they had. Even if it was, sometimes you're voluntold or you're made to be at those events. I was gonna be there anyway because I'm gonna have my table set up. I'm gonna have, by the time I got my stuff established over there at Eddie White, that's where I was in Clayton County. We had logos, all that stuff. I had all that stuff done. But just table with all that stuff, tablecloth, I made sure I was present for those things. Anywhere where there were incoming sixth graders, or if you're at a high school, incoming ninth graders, you want to make sure that you are in place. The same way them CTE and CTSO programs be in place recruiting, you need to be in place recruiting. Um, we have to, when it comes to the younger babies, um, we have to kind of watch our demeanor a little bit. And I don't have this written down, but they come to somebody that they feel like they can trust and be able to build a relationship and that will help them. Sometimes I've seen some people that are they end up in middle school environments and they really don't want to be in middle school environments because they feel like they should be in high school or college, and they're just taking a job at a middle school just because they want to check. um, the kids are gonna know that. They're gonna know that right away. And they're not going to respond to you. So if you're in that type of situation, like I've heard people complain that are in those types of situations, and they're saying, "Well, why I can't recruit, or I got this problem, I got that problem." It's because you need to check your attitude. That's first and foremost. So when it comes to that recruiting, you're not going to recruit kids because them kids can see right through you. It don't matter how young they are. They know whether you with them, you there for them, or you're not for them. So one of the biggest things, once we get past all of that, once I get interest, I go into, I have been lucky enough to be in situations, except for one or two times, where they won't give me any sixth graders. I ask, don't give me any sixth graders, let me recruit them. Um, and then I go to the different elective classes where I would pick up a lot of kids, was PE a lot of times. Um, PE, I had there was a gifted language arts class across the hall from me at Eddie White. And he was in the old orchestra room. I went over there and recruited kids. I mean, we had a pipeline going, you know, and that's because I was just always in there. I'm always out there smiling, being friendly, different things. I call it the used car salesman routine. You know what I'm saying? Like we just have to do it as directors. And many people are always, on the thing about college directors. Oh, they're a recruiting genius. Oh, well, guess what? Middle school, you better be a recruiting genius because you ain't gonna have nobody in your program. You got to pick them kids up fresh out the door. So, we have to look at, that's why I said the younger babies and the beginners. That's where we mold them and we cultivate them. So let's start congratulating some recruiting geniuses on this middle school and high school level. Um, Now, one of the big things, once I recruit them and I get them in, I'll do my rental night. So I have my rental night already set up for the end of August. That's with your local music store. If you have one in your area. Now, not everybody is lucky to have one in their area. If you have a music and arts or something of that nature around, there'll be some guy coming around with a van trying to sell you something. Set up a rental night for them to come out and get their instruments. Because this is part that'll help with that problem. Like some people are saying, well, I don't have instruments. I don't have enough instruments. I never had enough instruments for my sixth graders. I never had enough. Because you got seventh and eighth graders using horns. You know what I'm saying? And then everything else broke. So I made sure I piped that rental night up. I'll take questions at the end. Thank you. Just write them down. Thank you so much. That rental night, make sure that you are pubbing the crap out of it. Like you got to make a big deal out of it. Like, oh my God, like they about to get an ice cream sandwich or something. Like, make it an ice cream night, make it a pizza night. I've done that before. Anything to get them to come out. And they will come out and they will get those instruments. So that rental night, I just cannot tell you how important that is. I've also, I've been in an area where they wouldn't come to me. I've set it up at the music store and made it event. They'll let you host it there if you talk to them, and set it up and everything. They love the business. They love the business. So rental night. Some of the issues I've ran into at rental night, like parents that are like Hispanic and different things like that. And they don't have debit cards because with the rental nights, a lot of times they want them to get on auto pay. They'll do the $5 free or whatever. They want to get on auto pay. And so they don't have debit cards. Now, I'm one of them ride and go get it type of people. Like, I'm a hustler, we go get it. I've had to use my card once or twice just to get them going. You know what I'm saying? And then they get one and they switch. I ain't saying do that because everybody's school system different and stuff. But just sometimes you will run into roadblocks like that. Um, I'm one of them people, I'm a problem solver. It gets me in trouble sometimes, but I'm a problem solver. I'm not gonna sit there and let anything be a barrier to anybody if I can help it. So I've done where if I had to put it on one of my debit cards or whatever, just to get them started, and then they switch over or whatever, they get something else. They go get them a little prepaid, and they go work it out with music and arts. After that, it ain't on me. Um, you know, what else? We've had to do some cash out, just different things just to get these kids in these instruments. Because all you gotta do is get it in their hand. Once you get it in their hand, they ready to go. All right. Um, Somebody asked about percussion. With percussion, I let them get those kits, those little rolling bags with the bell kit in it and the snare and that little thing. And so what I would do with them, I would let them, get that. And then, but every other day they switched out. So I would, no, I'm lying because I switched it every week. So one week they'll be on the mallet. They'll come in there and pull out the little mallet things. And then the next week they'll come in there and pull out the snare. And then once we got to the bass drum, then they'll take turns uh rotating to the bass drum. Then I'll have them on a rotation schedule. That's what I did with percussion. Okay. All right. So that's your recruitment night. So you want to make sure you have that. Like I said, you want to try to make sure. I mean, if you can, you're going to have some kids that don't come to rental night. You're going to have some that still can't get their instrument. Then that's when you got to start pulling out the bass clarinets and tenor saxophones and stuff that you got in there. All right. All right. So we're going to move on, y'all. So keeping parents in the loop, my friend. All right. So that's what I'm saying. When you pubbing your rental night, when you pubbing your stuff, one of the very first things I do as soon as I get access to my new roster is go and get them email addresses. A lot of times they don't be correct. Um, but at your rental night, have a sign up sheet. When you at open house, have your sign up sheet. You see what I'm saying? Have your sign up sheet. That way you get all that. You have all the information because you need to be keeping a database. I know we wear a lot of hats as band directors, but I mean, if you want to thrive, that's what you got to do. Because especially when you're dealing with these young ones, you got to have these parents 100% on board. You know what I'm saying? And I've had situations where students, um, they got put out of band because they had to take a reading 260 course or something like that. I've had that kind of foolishness happen. And see, having those parents in the loop, that's what was able to stop admin from a lot of that kind of their foolishness, by those parents coming up there. I want my baby in the band. I'll get him tutoring outside of school, but I want him in Miss Phillips' class. So, you got to keep your parents in the loop. So, what I would do, of course, y'all, we got a lot of stuff now that we didn't have, back then. We got AI and all this stuff. You got SMORE newsletters. You got all kind of stuff to help you write stuff now. I used to have to sit and write this stuff. not by hand, but sit it, type this stuff out. So you could do newsletters with your parents. You could schedule newsletters, um, concert dates and all that kind of stuff, dress codes and all that kind of stuff. You can kind of do AI. You can even with the program I run now, I did a video that used the AI voice. Like I just put in all of the events we had coming up, and it made a video like church announcements. I mean, y'all got all kind of stuff now that you can use, and so something like that, also utilizing your social media. I don't have that listed here, but having, Instagram presence with the students also helps. Where you can communicate all those things. But you want to encourage parent involvement as much as possible. They should be involved at the middle school level, not just the high school level when they walk around in your warm up. They should be involved in the process in the middle school level, okay? And also all the things about instrument care and all that stuff, because they love to tear up instruments. That's when you got them parents in the loop. Okay, push it forward. Assembly and care. That is what I do when we get in class. So after we get done with rental night, they get their brand new shiny instruments. Hopefully, you didn't do it on a Friday where they had the weekend to go home and tear it up, because that's what they'll do. Um, you want to make sure that you have time. Try to do your rental night on like a Tuesday or Wednesday so they ain't got the weekend to go home messing with it. So you can have that next day, they come back, they bring their stuff, and then y'all can start going over assembly and care. Now, like I said, my people that start beginners in high school, they have a little more sense than my babies. Okay. So if you're dealing with sixth graders and stuff, you really gonna have to spend a lot of time on that. I spend a week on assembly and care. I spend a week on it. I will have, if I could, I love to reach out to other people because I'm not a reed person, I'm a flute player. But I can play a clarinet now and a saxophone. But I don't like dealing with reed assembly. So I always tried to I brought somebody in to do that, all the time. If I could I reached out to, what was my guy in the army band? I had one that would come through and do it for me. He's a Van Doren artist. People, you just reach out via social media and stuff, and these people come out and do, especially if they're, artists of those different, different things. That Rovner Ligatures, I had a thing with them. They sent somebody to come out and do that with my kids. So reach out to those different companies and they have artists in your area, that'll come out and do that for you. Okay. Um, but you can't rush through that with them. You just can't, because you're going to end up with moldy reeds. You're going to end up with ants in cases. They're disgusting. Okay. They are just disgusting. So just also you want them to take care of their instruments. So, all right. Moving on. All right. So after I do that for a week, then we're dealing with managing the rehearsal room. Um, so that's the engine. That's the engine of the program. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the most effective tools is a consistent entry for them. So they know exactly what to do. They walk in the door, they know exactly what to do. They sit down, they unpack, they assemble, they prepare music, and they begin the warm up or the activity on the board. But that starts from day one. So after you recruit them, you get them in there. When you going over your stuff and you going over, like once you recruit them, just say once you recruit them, they don't have instruments in their hand yet. You had your rental night. You should be going over that routine with them from the time they decide that they want band and they get their schedule changed of how they come in and different things like that. And during that period before rental night, we're watching videos about different instruments. We're watching HBCU bands. I'm building up excitement. I'm building up excitement during that time. Okay. So, but they know how I want them coming in my room and those different things. And um when you're dealing with like assembly and all that stuff, you're going over how you open the case, right? Don't open the case upside down and the instrument falls out, right? You have to tell sixth graders things like this. Everything, you have to be very, very specific with them. But once you tell them, they're so excited that they're going to do whatever you tell them. But you have to be very specific with them and you have to be patient. All right. So, you also need clear nonverbal signals for attention. So, like somebody asked a question about classroom management. A lot of the things in band when I would deal with them would just be from my eyes, eye contact. They don't want me to be upset. They like to see this, but sometimes when they see this, they know, oh, we don't did something. You sure did you know so just creating those nonverbals where they know you know you definitely don't want to deal with raising your voice. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I used to do that when I taught elementary. Probably the first 3 4 years them jokers used to drive me up the wall, and I used to do that till I got a hold of it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna keep. I got vocal nodules from teaching elementary. And so I just don't do it anymore. So you could do, raise hands, whatever your little gesture or whatever. Um, some people, and I'm just gonna say this because I'm an HBCU grad. Some people from HBCUs, certain HBCUs, they spend too much time though on that type of stuff. Like you in there lining kids up, you in there giving BCC specials and all that's why your kids can't play. Okay. All of that right there, it's just that was in college. Like, don't relive your college days through these babies. They are there to learn. But don't sit there wasting all that time. Like I would do little fun stuff with them, have them do little good afternoon, sun shining bright, little things like that. But that's 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I don't heard stories. People be smoking kids. You know what I'm saying? Then you wondering why the kids don't want to be in the program. Why they don't, I wouldn't want to be in your program either. So, just things like that. More positive reinforcement than anything. But just don't spend so much time reliving your college days out on these kids. Um, Positive reinforcement cannot be overstated in the classroom. Beginning band students, they're already so fragile in their confidence. You know what I'm saying? They're so fragile already in that age group. And what I notice, a lot of people that are doing that, the program that I witnessed, the ones that are doing that, they end up doing stuff like that, the kids, they weren't education majors. So they probably didn't take developmental psychology. They probably are not familiar with that age group. See, this is why finishing the major is important. You're not aware of that age group and how they react to certain things. But that's not a time for that. You don't want to break them down. You want to be building them up in that beginning stage. So whatever you got to do, joke with them, whatever, if they're there and they came and they raised their hand to be in there with you, they want to work for the most part. So just pace your rehearsals thoughtfully. You know, you all that talking, like right now I'm lecturing, but when I'm all that talking, no. Because I'm telling you, I'm somebody that'll talk in your rehearsal too. I will, you know. So just kind of move around between new material, different things. You got to keep them fresh. Our babies, y'all know they all over the place. Y'all know that already. Okay. So we just have to, that's class, your management. Okay. All right. So once we've got all that stuff, we got our management down, we got our routine down, right? So we're looking at first notes. We're looking at first notes, early milestones. I will tell you this. I am a method book person down to the science. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. People be up there talking about something. They teach a sixth grade band and they writing arrangements. I'm like, arranging what? What is you arranging if you don't put them babies in standard of excellence and call it a day? Um, because these books are written with instruction in mind. They are written with a plan Oh, this is where you start. Then you add on this. Then you add on this and you add on this. These things are in sequential order. So this is a thing that we miss again because we have a lot of people again we just like all teaching professions right now. We have a lot of people teaching out of field. So these are things that if you had done the field or whatever, you probably would have learned, but you're here now to learn it. But similar, just like math teachers, English language arts teachers, history teachers, all of them, they have to be instructionally sound. For some reason, we feel like because we was in band in high school and some a little bit of college or whatever, we feel like we instructionally sound. And we don't have to be instructionally sound. We feel like we don't have to follow that. Some of us look at it like lesson plans. Oh, that's beyond me. I don't have to do that. I teach band. I don't have to, have a routine. What? Ugh, I teach band. What do you mean? I'm going to write an arrangement and I'm going to pass it out and I'm going to do like this. Right? And so that's where we lose instructional focus. Baby, we still, it's a reason why we are in school buildings. It's a reason why we are part of the curriculum. Yes, they do be using us as people planning period. They do be doing that. But at the same time, still, I value my time. So I can't speak on nobody else. I've always valued my time. So being instructionally sound is using a method book. And they're already written. And it's the same thing. The other teachers, think about this, they don't even have a choice. They spend millions of dollars on a whatever curriculum it is this week, because it changes every other time somebody blow their nose. And they pass it out, and this is the new ELA curriculum. Everybody better be using it too. But we feel like we have people in our profession that think about how dangerous that is. They feel like they don't even have to use anything. Okay. So I swear by method books. Okay. So first notes. So early milestones. I'm a standard of excellence girl. I don't care what method book you use. Um, I've just been I know the book backwards and forwards. I've been teaching out of it forever. So I can recite it like I can recite my name. But whatever one you want to use, some people like to switch to different ones, different things like that. I wouldn't, but standard of excellence works wonderful for me. So I use it as my framework and it's already there. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You need to write lesson plans, it's already there. In the big book, everything's already there. Take it and put it in your template. Um, everything's there already. So in standard of excellence, instruction begins with that concert D as a band. Everybody's learning concert D. Your percussion is on quarter notes. Tap, 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 right? Concert D was chosen because it's a note that nearly every instrument in the beginning band ensemble can produce cleanly and in tune relatively early. So that's the reason why that concert D was chosen to start on. All right. Now, you will have some issues. Flute players, when I start a flute player, like I have one that takes lessons with me now, she's not in band, but she's just learning to play the flute. I wouldn't start normally a flute player on D, right? Because it's a headache for them. And then C is the very next note, and that's a whole can of worms. So a can of worms for them. So I would not do that when I'm starting to begin flute player, but that concert D is best for the band. So that's where the book starts. Most of your beginning band method books start on that concert D. But it's for those kids to learn how to make music collectively. They're learning to make music together. So the first exercise, time for band. In time for band, we got whole notes, whole rest, whole notes, whole rest, right? In the percussion, we got tap, 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 tap. They're doing those quarter notes. And whether you're starting them on, if you got one half of them, Like I said, what I did with mine, I would have, if I got 10, I got 5 on time for band, I got 5 on snare, I got 5 on mallets. Week 1. Week 2, they gonna switch. The ones that was on mallets gonna go over to snare. That way they learn it, they all gonna learn everything. Because I believe in building total percussionists, um, not just drummers. So I make them switch. Okay. Then when bass drum gets added to the equation, they all are going to want to play bass drum because it's the big drum and they're excited about it, right? So then you let them kind of take turns on the bass drum. You know, you can do it by the week or whatever. Again, I'm not organized, but I can kind of remember, oh, Johnny, you were on bass drum last week. Get your tail off that bass drum and get on the mallets. Because then they're gonna start fighting you about the mallets eventually. They're not gonna want to be on the mallets the week that they're supposed to be on the mallets. All right. You still make them, you stick to your guns. Don't be in there teaching cadences. Let them read what's in the Standard of Excellence book. Okay? Let them read it. All right? Please. All right? It's going to make them better because they'll learn how to read, which is what you want. You want them to read. So that concert D, you build step by step. You add a note at a time. You increase their range. That's what happens in the consecutive exercises. Because then they go from concert D, then they go to concert C. Same sequence. Whole note, whole rest. Whole note, whole rest. Those whole notes, those are nothing but long tones. Those are long tones. And so then what you're doing is you're developing tone at the same time while you're letting them read. Um, I would use a metronome. Now I've gotten to a point, now I taught many years without a harmony director. But once I got one, now I can't teach without it. So I would recommend if you don't have one, get a harmony director. You can click that metronome, slow it down, and then if you're in there clicking like that, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest. 2, percussion's hitting, 4, 5, whatever it is in the book. Those are long tones. You're building tones. You're also working with their ear as well. So what I would do a lot of times, especially in that first, I would let the harmony director play a drone on the D or do a chord and let it tap. Let it tap. Let it tap. And let them play along with it. Okay. And along that, while you're doing that, you're also ensuring that they're reading from left to right because what they're going to try to do, the young ones, they're going to stop looking and they're going to start looking around. Oh, I already know the note. So I made sure I was in their face. I wasn't sitting up on no podium doing this. Because what I need to do this for when I got a metronome playing, right? I'm teaching them how to read. So what I would do, I would let that tap and I would walk that room and get in their face, make sure they read it from left to right. Make sure they starting and they ending. But I'm very, very big on reading from the very, very beginning. Okay. So tone comes first, and then we're looking at them counting and reading. All right. So before we worry about speed, anything like that. Oh, I have a question. Okay, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that at the end. Remind me. Thank you, Jeff. Um, Tone first always before you get to speed. If you're using the tracks, if you're using smart music, turn them tracks down. They too fast. I think they started like 96 in there. Turn them down, turn the tempo down on those tracks. Also, you also can find Standard of Excellence tracks on YouTube. I like those better than the ones in Smart Music, so I would use those. You also can turn down the tempo on YouTube. Y'all know how to do that. And so you can let them play along. They like playing along with those tracks. They love that. Okay. But teach them that tone is first always, okay? And then teach them to listen. That teaches them to listen. They get that D concert in their ear, then they get that concert C in their ear. Then next we'll hit that concert B flat, right? And then number three, well, before we get to number four, which is where they get to that concert B flat, they're switching. They learn to switch between that concert D and that concert C. Those trumpets are moving, they're learning to do those valves and move correctly with those valves between one and two, one and three, one and two, one and three are your brasses. They're doing that. Your trombones, they're here, what, fourth position, then they're learning to kick out to that to six, whatever it is, and so all of those things. But notice how familiar I am with each one. You know what I'm saying? That's how you have to get. You got to be quick on your feet like that, okay? And be able to model for them. So those first notes very important. Don't move past them. Stay on them until everybody get them. Stay on them until everybody get them. Teach to mastery. If you want everybody in there, now you gonna have some. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit up here and cap like everybody caught on because I did have some duds. I had some duds. And no matter what you do with them duds, it's like what? Your second year you playing trumpet, you still can't hear whether your note ain't the right note. Your slide in the right place, but so I don't have some duds, baby, but I'm just telling you, just the reach. I'm talking about most of them, not the ones that's a little they be getting a little challenging. All right, moving on, y'all. All right, so then look, week by week pacing guide. My week by week pacing guide. So one of the most common questions I hear is how do we know if we're on track? Right? Well, you're on track. It depends on your kids in your program. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's kids are different. Year to year, it's different. I've sat in some PDs where some people have said at Midwest and different things, and they've said, well, I keep a calendar and we're from here to here this week, and I'm like, how y'all know that every year? Because every year I got a different set of kids, and they all a different level of crazy every year. So we don't know what we're gonna be on. But I try to keep it around these. Weeks one and two being about foundations, like I said, that instrument assembly, first sounds, posture, embouchure. I don't rush that at all. But until they're showing me exactly what I want to see. Weeks three and four, I introduce concert D, concert C, concert B flat. And those are the first ones, and then they get the concert E flat, the first notes in the beginning of the scale. Technique, helping to move between the different ones. Some people buy mirrors. Some people do that. I've heard of that a lot actually. So they can see their fingers and different things. They can watch themselves do slide positions, different things like that. Whatever works. I prefer being the mirror. So I keep one of every instrument in front of me on a stand. And when I look around, they hate when I see them slipping because they know I'm finna go over there and get that trumpet. Them trumpets ain't doing what I want to do. I'm gonna go get my trumpet. I'm gonna go sit next to them. They don't, they like it, but they don't because it's like, oh, you can do it, Miss Phillip. No, you can't. So that's why I got to come over here. So, just different things like that. Whatever you got to do to model for them. Weeks five and six, of course, you bring in more rhythms. You'll start bringing in quarter notes eventually. You'll start bringing in eighth notes, and different things. Um, and students will play their first songs. Hot cross buns within that week six and seven. Jingle bells 9 and 10. Weeks 11 and 12. Your concert preparation. All right. So we're building excitement towards that first concert, right? So genuine excitement, not compliance, not grades. They're excited, like they're ready to show their mama and them and their auntie and their grandma and them that they know how to play jingle bells. So one of the biggest things about the Jingle Bells in the Standard of Excellence book is that's when they have their first song with independent parts. And there's a separate bass line, and it's always going to be funny, but it's okay. They're going to do their very best. But those independent parts are in Jingle Bells. So you've worked them, you've rehearsed them every time you had them. Um, and you made it like you're not performing in my concert unless you know your music. Okay? They're going to know their music because they want to be in the concert. So how do you get them to do that? I didn't say I do practice. I don't do practice laws. But what I'm notorious for is a playing test. I'm notorious for a playing test, and it come out the blue. It can be just random day. Hey, let me hit it. And they already know because they like to see me like this. So when I'm like this, they don't like that. So that makes them practice. Also in class, we play every single day. Every single day. And then some people try to say, well, I'm in a school where I don't see them every day. I've been there too. A day, B day. I've been there. Um, you know, you gotta be creative. Gotta be creative. All right. So it's playing test. All right. So Jingle Bells, that's their first real playing test. They're demonstrating control over posture, embouchure, all the things. That baseline responsibility for that lower brass. You've modeled that lower brass. And also, if you have a harmony director, you have played that baseline so many times along with them using that harmony director that they got it in their ear. They're getting there, boom, 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 whatever it is, they're getting there, they're ready to go. All right, so this is last year's group. Now it's saying sharing is paused. Let me see how I can fix that. This is last year's group playing Jingle Bells. Once I get this up here. And it probably was.
Program. Let's give it
Can
a
y'all
round of
hear it?
applause to all of our students and
Okay.
scholars who will be performing this afternoon. I'm pleased to stand before you this evening as we celebrate
You hear how bad that sounds, but I'm still like, oh my God, it's so great. It's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, I'm going to invite some of my 7th and 8th graders who want to come along and play Jingle Bells along, babies. Wasn't that awesome, everybody? I know it was. I know it was. And they were just the bomb, diggity. Y'all ain't never heard nothing like that before, like that Jingle Bells, like that Jingle Bell right there now. All right. So yeah, but from there, y'all, now that's all I'm gonna give y'all today now. But that from that performance right there, it's like the light shines for them, and then, in the coming weeks, then we start, okay, stop going, he ha, we start practicing, taking a breath, and, we do all that stuff. We get to all that stuff, but we don't get that right away, and that's okay. What you're doing is hooking them, right? You're hooking them at this point. You want to hook them. You want to make sure that they love it. They love it and they love being a part of it. And their first performance, was worth it for them. Okay. So I think that's it. The first concert, of course, we went over that. And then lastly, the last thing that I want to leave you with before we get to Q&A, of course, um, I want to say this. Stop calling these middle schools your feeder programs, please. Please stop calling them that. Okay. The middle school program is its own program. It's its own program. And I will say I particularly have taken offense to it because a lot of times in the situations I've been in, I've built up hellified middle schoolers and sent them to the high school, and they went over there and then they quit. So I'm because they don't like the director, because the director over there smoking them and marching them up and down the street all the time, and they trying to figure out why they not doing all state no more and why they not going to MPA no more. So in a way, stop her feet because it's his own independent program. I think that hurts a lot of times the bridge. I think we need to stop looking at it like that. The middle school program does not exist just to fill up the high school program. And I think if you're a high school director and you're looking at it like that, you're the reason why, you may be having some of the issues that you're having. You should be encouraging your middle school to be its own independent program. Them building that over there can do nothing but help you in the long run. If they have their kids playing, their kids are doing solo and ensemble, their kids are traveling and doing different things. So when you get them, oh, you're not doing, you should already, be set up with that. So I think we need to stop that. We encourage that too much. And I think we take that feeder thing a little bit too far. And so what ends up happening, people that are at the middle schools, what they're doing is they want to be high school directors and they want to be collegiate directors, but they're taking jobs at the middle school. And so they really don't want to they don't want to teach middle school. They don't want to get better at it. And so what they're doing is they're sitting there doing marching. They're helping you. And so that's getting them out of accountability. You see what I'm saying? All of the things. Stop doing joint concerts with them. Let them do their own concert. You do your concert. Again, hold it. You want to hold them accountable? That's how you hold them accountable. Make them form their own program over there at the middle school. Okay. And I think it's just a mindset because I understand that. But I like to look at it like this. We're in vertical alignment to each other. But I'm a certified teacher that went to school for music education. I don't exist to just feed you. That's not what my program is about. Now, I let my kids participate. I let them march. I encourage it. But they know my stuff come first. My stuff come first. So if we got solo and ensemble on April 21st, I don't care about your little Rudy Pooty Battle of the Bands. You ain't getting my kids for that. They going to solo and ensemble. And so as long as that you have that understanding with your middle school director that, if they have events and they have different things scheduled for their program, then they should not be expected to work around your stuff. So, okay. So I want to end on that and I am ready to take questions.
Hi, Miss Phillips. I'm
Hey.
curious. Um, when you're working with an individual or an individual section, rather, what are some of the things that you have some of the other sections do while you're working with that certain section? Because in my own experience, I've had bands, I've had classes where it was small to count, where we had that luxury to do individual groups, or whether it be a larger group. we have individual sections where it can be done, and I have done it before, but it can be increasingly difficult.
Yeah, it is, especially if you're dealing with middle schoolers. You know, I think in that type of situation, I think the only time I've been able to say sectionals, like sectionals, um, is either towards the end of the year. I've kind of got them trained at the point where they can do that, or on a Saturday when I brought in some clinicians or something like that. But other than that, in class, you gotta sit your butt down and be quiet. You know, yeah, that's the only thing I can think of for that. But yeah, you just gotta sit and be quiet if I'm trying to work something out. You know what I'm saying? Are you teaching, Mr. Evans, are you teaching middle school?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, okay. And so what's going on? They talking while you trying to work with the section?
Well, I'm just saying, in my own experience, I've only been doing this for about 4 years. Um, in my own experience, at one position, I had the luxury to do individuals because of the different way the school system was set up. But at the other position where I had previous to the one that I have now is it was slightly larger, so it was kind of difficult to go through each section whilst another section was doing something whereas they were not supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, are you letting them, like you like letting them loose and go into sectionals?
No, not sectionals at all. I'm talking about
Okay.
when they have an instrument for the first time. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're saying when they get their instruments.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Got you, got you. And so you're teaching and you're just trying to think how to get them. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's just what I mean just really letting them that you got to have them, they just got to sit down, if you're working with because a lot of times even with like percussion I got to go back there, you know what I'm saying. A lot of times I got to go back there all the time, and so little flutes and all of y'all, y'all got to sit down, you need to be fingering through your music, you need to be doing something. Okay, thank you. I hope I answered your question. I'm sorry. Next.
Hi. That's a good question that Jeff had. I have that question too. But firstly, thank you for this. So helpful. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. My situation's a little bit different because I'm in Gwinnett County, Georgia, and I'm actually at an elementary school, and I teach general music, and I have an after school outside band program that I started last year. So band is not actually offered at my school at all. And elementary band in Gwinnett is not a thing also. So I've had some, logistical issues as far as just literally everything has been like the same resources that are given to the middle school directors and the high school directors, I do not have access to. So for example, like I don't have any tubas. I don't have I don't have a lot of things like donations, things that have been purchased out my pocket and things of that nature. So my question is, how can I convince, or since you have done elementary music as well, how is there a way that I can convince my admin to allow me to do band during the day? And just to give a little background about my program, last year we started with 35. This year we have 58. So there's definitely a growth in the program. And I've retained a lot of students that were fourth graders last year. And I also do third through fifth grade as well. So it's a little different.
You know, admin is admin, everywhere you go. I'm not usually a favorite, but because I like to, I'm just me. But you know, you would probably do better with writing some grants. You would probably do better with writing some grants. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. And I've gotten a few grants. So if you hit me up, maybe we could talk about it. Um, because I've gotten Mr. Holland's Opus before, you know, but you gotta keep your eyes open for that stuff. Because sometimes they're accepting, some years they're accepting applications, some years they're not. I think
Right.
last year they weren't. I think last year they were not. I don't think. I tried to send somebody to them last year. So
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Holland's
Okay.
Opus, what, and then you were in Georgia. So now
Mm-hmm.
when I was in Georgia, I don't remember, I don't know why I feel like since I'm in Alabama now, I see so many more grants offered for arts programs.
Mm-hmm.
The Alabama Arts Alliance and all that kind of stuff. It may be some stuff like that in Georgia. I don't remember ever seeing stuff like that, but I'm
Right.
sure it exists.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta find some stuff like that, like the Arts Alliance and different things like that. And you gonna have to write to get that money.
Right. Okay.
So just
And
hit me up. Yeah, hit me up.
yeah, I feel like this is an outside conversation because I feel like my situation is similar because I've also taught on the high school and middle school level. So I understand everything you're saying. But starting this program on the elementary level has brought up a lot of different challenges and obviously is liked because it's growing, but it's a lot of things that I want to fix for next year's program as well.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
you got a good number over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got a
Yes.
good number over there. Yeah, I want to talk to
Yes.
you about that. Please,
Okay.
please hit me up about that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I see a raised hand from iPhone.
Hey, this is Keith. I wasn't signed in. We spoke on Messenger.
Yes.
All right, so I got my own personal questions, but those are more like offline questions because it's like a list. Uh, so I'll probably get with you another day for that. But this, of course, I have a friend of mine who teaches middle school who they weren't gonna be able to make it, so they told me to please make sure I ask them. So this person, one of their biggest issues is scheduling because I know you mentioned earlier about how you dealt with being the dumping ground class. And I actually used to work as a parapro in his school before I got my high school teaching job. And so I've seen it to where he'll come in and he'll have he may have like a solid 7 or 8 sixth graders, and then but then the next year, because of however the admin wants to schedule it, 3 of them will be in one period, 2 will be in another. Then there was some eighth graders, and then out of 20 kids, he'll have about 4 or 5 that actually want to be in band, signed up for band. Another 5 that and then another 10 that they just threw in there just for the sake of throwing them in there. And then I have another 2 that's like, all right, these are eighth graders that's been in band for 3 years, but they in this class, they got them in this beginning class. That's the only other class they could put them in. And so he's like, one ensemble across like 4 or 5 classes and just mixed in all or whatever. And so what he does is now is he have like some of his more advanced students kind of help the younger ones, but he's a big issue that he finds dealing with is discipline. He's always having it because yeah, some of them kids they throw in there because they're like the worst behaved kids and they see like, oh man, you just put them in there, da 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 or whatever. And so like he'll be trying to tell he just got to deal with a bunch of kids who didn't want to be in band, don't want to behave, don't want to listen. These are problem kids. They get in trouble in their other classes, all this other stuff like that. And so he was just wondering like what kind of advice or how do you go about handle it? Because I've told him to come and try to advocate to the people that does the scheduling because it's like 1 or 2 people that do it, and I think it's very much a cookie cutter. This is what you take. This is what you're gonna get put in. Which is it's not a whole lot of nuance behind like okay these kids and you know. So I don't know if you had any advice
Yeah,
for them.
absolutely. You know what? Like I said, I've been in those types of situations. One of my best known positions where I made a lot of noise at Eddie White Middle It was like that, A Day, B Day. I had they were throwing kids in there at one point. I had like A Day was band, B Day was general music. I had my phone stolen, yeah, all kind of yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. The way, there is really no perfect solution to that. It just depends on how much you're willing to grind. And like I said, I got that grind in me.
Mhm.
So, I was able to kind of start turning some of those general music classes into band classes. And with some of them jokers that don't know how to act, you got to hit them with grades and
Mhm.
parents. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Parents and grades, parents
Yeah.
and grades. Yeah. Um, I mean, that's the only way to control them. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I can think of. Them jokers that's in there not doing what they supposed to do and stuff. Some people do give them written assignments and all that stuff, but I don't like keeping up with all that kind of stuff. So I mean, either you're gonna do what I say to do, or I'm gonna fail you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna let your
Yeah.
mama know I'm gonna fail you. So he just got to be on his paperwork with that. And,
Okay.
and just you see what I'm saying? Because then that
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
he can feel. Because you know how they are about failing them. They want you
Yeah.
to have a whole dissertation to fail these jokers
All this other stuff
nowadays.
like that. It's like, but I'm sending y'all. I got to send them up to y'all discipline office every other day. What more paper do I need?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he got to stack his paperwork on them jokers to get them jokers out of there.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Okay.
That's just the name of the game right there. You gotta stack that paper up with admin and stuff, and write them up as much as possible. Make sure he have his paperwork in order where he can fail that joker.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Have that lined
Yeah.
up, documentation. That look, I gave this, he didn't do it. I gave that, he didn't do it. And he need to be in touch with them parents too, and let them parents know that you know he ain't doing his work.
Okay. Okay.
That's how we did that. That's the only way I know how to slice a pig.
No, no, I got you. I mean, no, because I've told him something similar where I was just kind of like, I ain't gonna lie, man, data's king. So I was like, you got to show your admin like the difference in classes that where you having all these discipline issues versus how productive you can be in these other things. You know, also like they
Hmm.
understand data and paperwork or whatever. But I
Yeah,
definitely
that's all
I
they
talked to him and let him
understand is
know.
data. Yep, that's all they understand. We be trying to spare these kids, but not that. Write them
Yeah,
up. That's what you want to see.
right.
That's how you'll get them out of there. Okay. Well, thank you. I'm gonna move on to Mr. Richardson. Thank you.
I had two questions.
Okay.
So the first question was about rental night. So is rental night separate from like the instrument fitting, and like do they already come knowing like what instrument they're playing?
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. Some people call it instrument fit. Well, some people do too. To be honest, now because I've worked a few that did too, but I've also worked one before where they had me in to be the clinician for the fitting piece, and then they had the music store there the same night. So we did the fittings. It's a lot of different ways people do it. The most concise way I saw was when they did it where they had the music store there and they did the fittings at the same time. They had us in different rooms. They had me with the flutes, somebody with the clarinets, and then we had the things where we tried them out on the different instruments. And then we put their top three, like what we would rank them on each instrument, and then they took that paper over to the music store that was set up in like the cafeteria or whatever, and then they got them set up with their top. Yeah, so I've seen that done before. Mine, I have not had a program big enough to do all of that. Mine is we choose instruments. Wayne, that's right, you interned with me, but I think you
I
came
did.
after this part. But right after I recruit them, I go in PE or whatever, hey, who all wants to come join band? Then I get whatever 30, 40, 60 kids, it depends on the year. Then those kids, when they start coming with me to band, we start looking at videos of the different instruments. I model the different instruments. I'll do a different one every day. If you have access to Quaver, Quaver's got some stuff in there like this. Um, and you do you do that and you talk up their instruments. And what I would do is I would do my own fitting in class. And then by the time rental night came around, they already knew I'm playing this, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
And I had one more question. Um, so you was talking about your rotation schedule for percussion. So can I see that or like can I look at it? Because like I heard some people like do mallets for like the whole like first half. Because I
Some
want my
people
people
do
to be
that.
percussionists and I don't want them to, just want to play snare drum. And it's hard when they be seeing like marching bands and stuff like that. They always want to play a marching cadence and things like that. I want them to actually play real music.
Yeah, you want them to read. Yeah, you want them to be able to read. Some people do that. Everybody does it different. I have heard of people doing it. Like that first half, they'll do semesters. They'll do semesters. But for me, I didn't like that because those kids that are on that snare, that they just get too into that snare. You know what I'm saying? And it's just then they don't want to, those kids that you started on snare, they're reluctant to go do the mallets when it's time to do the math. They're looking at it like, oh, versus kind of swapping them out more often. It depends on how many I have in each class too. So, but normally what I would do, just like I said, just half would be on do snare, half would do the mallet kits. They knew which one to take out when they got in there. And they're gonna try it. If you don't keep up with it, they're gonna try it, and you're gonna look back there, and everybody gonna be back there with snares out. Because like you say, they all want to emulate. They want to emulate things, and they don't want to read. But make them. You have to make them stay on that schedule, whatever your schedule is. You know. Yeah. All right. I hope I answered all your questions, Wayne. But you can hit me up. He
Yeah, thank
interned
you.
with me.
You got
Huh?
you got me. You got all my questions.
Okay, yes, he interned with me at McKee and doing his thing. Awesome. Alabama State graduate. Okay, Willis is next.
Hey, Miss Phillips, how you doing?
Hello.
Doing good. I got two questions too. First off, first question. So this is my first year teaching middle school. We did everything that you kind of named. Like we do performances, we did concerts. We just got done with LGPE. Um, but one question I do have. So with everything I just named about all these performances, because the school is like performance based. Like they want us doing like performances back to back. They want us to do like marching band, and I'm trying to explain to them, hey, this is not, exactly saying this ain't that. I can do it, but this not that. The question is, how can I make sure that the kids are really learning everything that they need to know without rushing it? Because it's kind of like they're trying to rush the process and they think it takes like, oh, in 2 weeks they're gonna have the instrument down pack and they can play anything. But I'm trying to make sure that they understand that they're really becoming musicians and not just band like people in the band. Like literally. Cause that's what I
Yeah.
want them to understand at the end of the day. Like they're musicians, not okay, this is a band. These are musicians.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that question. I think that mindset, I think we have to kind of before I show them a HBCU band video, the first video I ever showed them is that video of the armed forces musicians testing out the instrument. Testing out the instruments. That's the very first video they ever see. And then they see that. And then they see me. I'm a professional musician. So I'm always practicing. Every time they walk by the band room, they hear music, they hear a flute, you know, playing all the time. So I think I and I'm not saying don't expose them to HBCU band because I do, but I don't start out with that with them. I kind of let them discover that and realize, hey, I can be a part of that too. Yeah, I can be a part of that. But first, you got to learn how to play. So, let's look at the symphony, and so I just think it's exposure, different things. When I taught in Atlanta public schools, that one year I was there, I made sure I took them to the symphony because I had inherited a group of kids like that. Like I said, they were 6 through 12, but they were just totally marching band focused. And and I had seniors that couldn't read. They can play all the tuba fanfares under the sun, but you put something simple in front of them, like a Colliding Visions by Brian Balmages, and they can't tell a half note from a whole note. And so I think we gotta expose. So I made sure I took them. We went to see the ASO. We got free tickets to that. It's just a lot of things, y'all. A lot of stuff be free. Like if you look for different stuff and find different things, a lot of things be free. You expose them to different things. Like we got Amani Wins here today. Actually, they're here tonight in Montgomery. And so I got some free tickets and I got some students over there. I'm not even there, and they're there to see them play. So I just think it's an exposure thing with that. What was your
Okay.
second question?
Now, my second question. Now, I teach in Atlanta, so everything you're saying is true. The program I'm at is at Kip Shrive Middle School. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. This
Oh, why did
program.
you go out there?
Hey, look, I just started in June. I started in June. I moved out here
It's
in
over
June.
there now, Alabama, down there.
Nah. I left that. We can talk about that. I left that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yes,
we can
sir.
talk about that. The second thing was this program. I just rebuilt the band, so we went from 10 to close to 85 now. My question is now is since I've been teaching here, it's a lot of like you said, it's beginning band, then you have advanced. We don't have that set up. So it's usually just like, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade band. How do I teach when some of the students are on different playing levels? So I have like a sixth grader that's technically close to playing like an eighth grader, and then I have five others that playing on beginner level, and then I got like seven of them that's intermediate. Like, how do I adjust to teach to make sure they all learn at the same time, and the advanced people not getting bored while I'm trying to teach the beginner? Like, how can I teach all at the same time like that when they're all on different playing levels?
Okay. That's that APS bullshit.
Yep.
They're known for that. They're known for that. They are
Yeah.
notorious for that.
Yep.
I would have told you that if you would have hit me up before you got there.
Look, that's why I said let me
Yeah,
ask the
no, I
questions
would have
now.
told no food APS. The
Man,
food.
I hate that
Look, the money,
setup.
it be the money. Y'all be looking at
Hey,
that money.
it's
Look,
the money
that
good.
check don't
But
be worth it though.
look, I be telling them, man, I ain't here for no check. I really want to teach, so I'm trying to find
Trying to
ways
do
around it.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find ways around it.
Trying to do something. Hey, you gonna have to get creative, homie. They had me like that too. I was at Best Academy at CSK for 2 minutes, and every day I wanted to jump into the nearest river somewhere before they finally find a reason to fire me. But and it was because I was cussing. I always get in trouble. I always get fired for cussing all the time. So that's why I don't cuss no more. But I do though. I really do. But still, I try not to. But yes, they do that to you. I had to get really creative over there. It was 6 through 12. So I had one school. I had Best sending me middle school kids second period, but then CSK sending me high schoolers second period. Uh, and then one school may decide that none of the kids, like Best may decide, you know what, we just gonna send you boys and none of them in the band. Just random boys. And then and then girls, I'm gonna send you these middle school girls. They do want to be in the band. And it's like you're sitting there like, what? Um, what I did for that, I had to be creative. I did. Now, one thing you will have in APS is unlimited resources. I mean, that is one thing. I would say that. When I complained about it, I said, okay, well, I need instruments. Y'all gonna throw these kids in here? I need instruments. Um, and so they did provide that. They were able to get those to me when I asked for them. Um, I was able to kind of start a mentoring thing within the class. So, like, if I had some girls in there that may have been middle schoolers or whatever, and maybe some older boys that were in the band, maybe they were, some of them were, some of them weren't, uh, they worked with them. So I was kind of able to get a peer mentoring thing going there with them. Um, yeah, you got to be creative. It's just terrible. It's terrible, but they're known for that.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay. Nah. You answered that the best you can. Look, I said I'll be trying. It's working out so far because I got a new group, like new fifth and sixth grade group. But the ones that like going into seventh, that's my seventh grade is going to eighth grade. It's a bunch of them that like some of them beginning, some of them it's all over the place. But it's been working so far. At least all of them are playing. Especially for the one that just asked about the people that just get thrown in there. Trust me, they'll buy in. So
They
trust me,
will.
they will buy
Yeah,
in. So
they
you just got to
will.
find ways to buy the, get their interest in.
That's right. And when I was in at Best and CSK like that, they had, my son, which I'm so proud of my son, he is a marching gosh, what are they? He's at Southern University. Oh, Human Jukebox. He's in that. So, anyways, but he went to Best because when I was there, I put my son in Best Academy. I put my daughter in CSK, and my son was in eighth grade then. He was on baritone at the time, and he was in my program, but he was in a beginning band class. And I was like, what the heck? Like, what do you want me to do with this? So, like, what I ended up doing with like some of them that they put in that beginning band class, they switched instruments. He played trombone. I put all of them in the standard excellence book one. And the kids that already played, they they just learned a secondary instrument. And the ones who were new, they were just starting new. You gotta do
Okay,
what you
okay.
gotta do.
I may try that. I may try that one. That one was kind of smart. I ain't gonna. I try that one. I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, I did. I definitely did that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like that one. I definitely will use that one. I definitely will use that one.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you. All right. Next hand is up is Ashley Moore. Oh,
Oh,
you want me to come back?
sorry.
Oh.
I was looking for my mute button. I sent you a bunch of questions. Would you like me to read them out loud or?
Let me see, girl. Okay,
It
hold on.
was a
Oh,
lot
it's
of
stuff in the
them.
chat. Child, y'all
Yes.
writing. Okay, so let's see. Georgia email. Okay. Sent parents started last year. So Reginald said something. That's how special general
I'm gonna put it
the class. Okay.
here.
Oh, I see it. Since D is a trippy note for beginning flute players. How do you keep the flute players? Yeah, D. That
Yeah.
D to C. That D to C.
My kids hate D.
Yeah,
They just, yeah,
yeah.
that just the
It's
switching
ugly.
from C to D, it's just,
It's
yeah.
that thumb coming
Yeah,
off.
that
It's
thumb.
that thumb.
Yeah.
It's that thumb. And really, I mean, I had a year, like I said, just every year is different. I mean, because like, was it the year before last? I had two that just could not get out the blocks with that.
Yeah.
Never got out the block with that.
Right.
And they just started going to PE. And I'm not, all right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hate that. But yeah, that's hard. I try to pay special attention to them. I've done things where I put stickers on
Yeah,
on
I do the stickers.
I've done the
Yes.
stickers. I've done that.
Hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it
Sometimes it
doesn't.
doesn't. Hmm.
Um, I've done, but what works the best, what I found is the mirrors with that, or
Yeah, I
the
have
letting them use
mirrors
their phone.
too.
Letting them
Like
use their phone.
I have mirrors just for flute players because last year, my flute players were a little bit more, they grasped it a little bit better. This year, my flute section is the weakest section right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the fingerings and remember where they are. And, I've done all the things with the mirror and the stickers and yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
just
just
have
still
to work.
working with
They
them.
have to work
Yeah.
that, and because they're gonna do that thing where they want to crawl over. They're gonna do
Right.
that. They're gonna do crawly. They're gonna do what's the other one they do? Where they move something weird that
Or they
goes
switch a
on. Like,
finger down.
yeah,
Or, yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, walk around with a ruler and beat them. All right, next. Do you suggest any book besides standards? I have never taught out of any other book besides Standard of Excellence. I walked in one bedroom and another one was in there, and I bought Standard of Excellence books. So I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
You use whatever you
Okay.
want to use. Just use a method book. What if you
Okay.
do not have the consequence of grades? What are some other methods you use? Parents.
What if
Parents.
the parents are not motivating? Like, and I say that because I'm dealing with parents who they have done all the things to purchase the instruments and such, but like just giving them that motivation. It's a village raises child situation. So there's only so much that I can do if that motivation's not coming from at home as well. So where does that come in?
Yeah, yeah. That's it's got to be intrinsic, don't you
Yeah.
think? I think for something like band, they've got to want it. They got to want it and
Mm-hmm.
have it in them. I don't think I've ever wanted anybody around me that didn't want it.
One band. Yeah.
If you don't want it, then can you get out my eyesight and stop wasting my time? Because I give my all. So I think it just has to be intrinsic. If it's like that, then they need to get out.
Get out the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got
Go
you.
do something else. I don't know.
Right. I got you.
Yeah, that's just how I know. Okay, that's how I look at it. Okay, so Cleveland says I've had success with sound innovation. See, I don't know about that. Yeah, see, I just don't know about it. Tell us about it, Cleveland.
So, hi, good evening, everybody.
Hey.
So sound innovations kind of works like standard of excellence. You can really use them interchangeably year to year. It's sequential. It starts with concert D as well, but it allows them to kind of grow as it's teaching them different elements. It's just I've seen some districts that they swear by essential elements, but they're wanting you to start on an F or B flat, and some kids are not ready to start there yet. And I've had more success with either standard or tradition of excellence or sound innovations because of that same reason.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I think everybody has certain ones because like a lot of people like those habits books. A lot of people are really into those. That when those came out, they really, they've been selling a lot. People like those. I just haven't taken the time to look into. I'm just an old lady stuck in her ways. That's all. I'm just an old lady stuck in my ways. All right. But I just say, just please use a method book. Please don't write arrangements and teach them to beginners. Okay. And don't have babies on tubas with their necks looking like this too. Oh my God. All right, that baby I saw on Facebook, I was like, Jesus, holy Christ, holy macaroni. Holy macaroni. All right, good. All right, so do we have any more questions? Oh, Alexis, your hand up.
Yes, I have my brown hand raised.
I love it. Yes, it's very cultural. It's giving culture.
Good evening, everyone. My question was, as an elementary music teacher, what is something that I can do to um prepare my fifth graders going into middle school? Because all we do is sing. I have a choir, so we sing. But I want them, because I'm a musician, so I want them to be musicians as well. But it's not really been done before. So how would I kind
Yeah.
of introduce that to them and get them interested?
So when I taught elementary, I did recorder. I did recorder. And I started recording. I made it again, big deal. They knew third grade. everybody could not wait to get into third grade because they get to do recorder karate. So that was my big claim to fame with them when I taught elementary. And again, just making the biggest deal out of it. I had bulletin boards up for recorder karate. I had all the things, their classes. I had a little competition going where they learned the songs, and they get a belt for each song, that they learn and the whole thing. I don't know if they're still selling that, but that was what I used like heck. And it started with third grade. They knew, so if they started with me in kindergarten, they looked up, I had the recorder ensemble. They performed at different things. I had two things. I had a club choir and I had a recorder group. And I had a little, some of the kids playing a little xylophones too, and all of that, and they did stuff. So the little ones, they looked up to them and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get in third grade because then I'll get to do a recorder." And so that was what I did. So you can do that. And they used to sell them. I don't know if they still sell them like this, but this was 100 years ago. I used to order through music8.com and I ordered the Recorder Karate. It comes with the Recorder Karate book. They have a student book and the recorder. And I want to say now this was 100 years ago, but it was like $7 for the whole thing, the whole little set. And then they could even add on a little yes, yes, yes. You will have access to the recording. Yeah, they get the charts. I had an option where they can buy the little neck straps with the recorder. I mean, honey, we were all in.
What was that
Okay.
website again?
Music8.com. Now, I think there's still a thing. Let me put it in the chat.
They are. I actually use that at my school.
Oh, okay, so they're still around because I know the
Yes.
guy died or something recently.
Yeah,
Peter
I think it's
Jennings.
They
got.
are.
hmm
Oh, good.
They are.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
still use that writer.
I love them, and their stuff is wonderful. But they have it all set up, honey. You could buy the whole with your budget or whatever, and make a big deal out of it. 3, 4, 5. All right, Wayne, what you got?
Last question. It's kind of off topic, but still on topic. I love this that you did. Can you do one for like advanced or intermediate band? I know everybody doesn't have advanced or like intermediate bands, but um, like bands that they play the instrument for more than like a year or so.
Absolutely. I was already my wheels was turning for the next one. I would love to cover that seventh grade year. That intermediate piece, either that seventh grade year or that second year, third year student, because that's a whole nother can of worms there. Definitely. Hmm.
But thank you for this.
Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Jeffrey Thompson, I think, is next.
Harmony director. Talk to me about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the harmony director is let me see if I can pull up like a picture of it. Okay, so it's this Yamaha thing that came out like it came out, shoot, it was out when I was at CSK. Cause that was when I got the first one, but the first one was really expensive. It was like $2,000, the HD 200. And then they've come out since with the HD 300, but it looks like a keyboard. I'm trying to share my screen so you can see a picture of it, what it looks like. Um, okay, I think I am sharing my screen now. Can y'all see my screen?
Nope.
Oh, of course not. I don't even know where Zoom is now. Where did it go? We'll be here all day with me trying to share my screen. But anyway, it looks like a keyboard. And it's got all the different features on it. Metronome is built in. It's so much stuff. I mean, I can't even explain everything that this thing does. But what I use it for, I use it as a pitch reference. So you know how we end up doing a lot of singing in the band room? You don't necessarily should have to do that anymore. You just kind of play the notes, and then it sounds like brass instruments. Like certain drones I like to use. I like to use the lower brass drone, sound, different things like that, and play those tunes. Big thing for me, weakness of mine, teaching middle school band, I'm not a brass player. So developing lower brass instruments, a lot of times I would have to play the pitches on my flute or different things like that to get them to hear. And so the harmony director kind of alleviates that if you can play a little keyboard, because all you got to do is reach over next to the podium. And tonal energy does the same stuff. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Tonal energy does. But I like having that keyboard there and kind of doing it. It's just easier for me. And then you have it set up. You can set it up to your speakers in the room and have your I had an amp in my room at McKee that blasted my harmony director out. But the metronome, you know, the drones, the scales, it does all kind of beats. I've done, some different things where I had the metronome, you can kind of set it up to play like a hip hop beat. They can do their scales with it. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. I really like it. You could go on YouTube and it's some videos on there of people demonstrating them, and they're a lot more advanced than me at it. But I really, like I said, I only really mostly used it to play those lower brass pitches. And especially with getting ready for MPA and stuff with the advanced group, you can kind of pluck those pitches out, those parts of the chord that you need more of, or different things, so they can hear it, especially if they, if they have a hard time hearing. Also helps with tuning. There's tuning exercises for it. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. All right. Anybody else have any more questions?
I definitely check it out. Thank you.
Please, yes. Can't teach without it anymore. Can't teach without it. The honor band I just did, I had to teach without it, even though I asked for one. But it's all good. I went back old school. All right. So thank you guys for being on here tonight. Thank you. It was so great. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming and participating and sticking with me. I am getting ready to eat me a freezer cup. I like those Italian ices, them Luigi's. I'm finna eat me a Luigi. Thank you for coming. And I'm finna lay down with my dog and cat. Okay. Thank y'all. We will do this again very soon. And I'll be dealing with the intermediate groups. Okay. We need to make it a series. Come on, series. Yes. Yes. Freezy Cook. Oh my God. Yo, do I talk country? Somebody told me I talk country. Girl, shut up.
It is okay.
These Alabama people don't got me. They got me. It's all good. I've been country before I got here. All right, y'all. Well, everybody have a wonderful evening. Oh, 100 troopers in Florida, baby. They 100 troopers. But these Luigi's here. Bye, y'all.
Have a good night.
Good night.